So you are here today for the SpEdPAC Summer Learning Meeting. I will introduce Kelsey Brendel, our interim chair. Kelsey?
Hi, thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. It looks like a great group tonight, and we have a really important topic to cover. So before we get going on that, I just wanted to, again, give you a more official welcome to BostonSpEdPAC. For those of you that have been here before, hopefully you're well-versed and know what to expect. And for those of you who may be new here, and this is the first meeting that you're attending, an extra special welcome to you. This is a place, that has become such an incredible resource, both by way of getting information to families in the district who have students with disabilities, but it's also a really wonderful place to find community with other parents, other caregivers, other people who really walk the walk and get what it is we're all managing at home. So I really encourage you, for those of you, again, who are new, to keep coming back, find ways to be involved. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But again, welcome to tonight in particular. The presentation we have in store for you is on summer learning for students with autism. And I guess I should just quickly give you the summary of what we officially do as an organization, so you can spend some part of tonight's presentation in the background thinking of how much you would like to be further involved. But basically, we are a group established under Massachusetts general law. And the purpose of the group is to ensure that Boston Public School students with disabilities get the services and support they deserve and are legally entitled to. And how do we do that? A couple different ways. One of the most obvious is that we host events like this. Every month, a general meeting where we take on a topic that's of interest to students and families with disabilities, and we do a deep dive into it. But the platform is really meant for you as our membership. This is your time to hear from people who can tell you more about your student, your world at BPS, and then ask all the questions that you have. So save them up for those times, and we'll do our best to get you the answers you deserve. The second way that we sort of work to make change is to work with the district and advise them on policy and things that are happening on the ground for students at BPS that really shape, what is actually happening in our schools. And the way that we decide how to have those conversations is, again, by way of you. So your voice is a critical voice here. And while I'm thrilled to see everyone here at the meeting, I always want to take a second to remind all of you, because I remember the experience myself personally many years ago, thinking that I knew nothing, that it was just my job to seep in more information about my student, my own child, and that I didn't know much myself. And what I've learned and want to encourage all of you to really take in is that you truly are the experts on your own children, and more on all the happenings within BPS. You serve a really vital role in every conversation, whether it's about your child in an IEP meeting or in a much more systemic, structural way, which is why my very first announcement tonight before we get started is about upcoming elections. You've heard me mention them in the past several meetings in a row. I'll make this quick, but it's so important. Our next meeting, which is May 23rd, please mark it on your calendars. We will be addressing a topic, of course, that will be on ADHD, but a good portion of that meeting will also be spent on our regularly scheduled elections. All of these roles will be up for, all elected positions will be up for consideration. So we talked again a little bit about this the last time, but by April 30th, by the end of this month, we will have 3 or 4 selected dates throughout the month of May before the election, where we'll have sort of a Zoom opportunity for those of you interested in running for a position, or you want to know the difference between, the treasurer and the board chair. You can come onto a Zoom call and ask any questions you'd like, and we'll hope to answer them for you and encourage you about how to become more involved. So hoping you'll take that seriously, pass it along to your friends. And the other quick announcement is about something upcoming next week on the 29th, which I believe is Monday. It is an autism acceptance event in honor of Autism Acceptance month. And it's an event being held at the bowling building at BPS. I believe it's from 11 to 1 o'clock. And there will be a light lunch. I understand there will be a raffle and some fun things, certainly a family affair, but it sounds like a really nice way, again, to come and connect with other families. So if you can make it, definitely consider it. And I suppose, let's see, that's it for major announcements. I know that you're here again, first and foremost for the presentation, so let's get right to it. I just want to introduce the few people who will be speaking with you tonight. A special thanks before those actual names, again, to all of our interpreters. There are many folks also here from BPS supporting in the chat to help answer questions. I saw a few of them already. Mary Marcella, Carrie Norman, many others, I'm sure, but they are here to help you with your questions, and we can always tackle ones that require more in-depth answers even after this meeting commences. I would just caution everyone, if you are asking a question during the Q&A part, first of all, speak slowly to honor the work of our interpreters and to make that easier for them. And also just remember, this is a public forum, so be judicious about keeping, information that you hold private to yourself, and we can have BPS follow up with you if there are specific names or schools or things you don't want mentioned on the public meeting. We can take that into account as well. So in terms of our speakers this evening, we have the topic of ESY, Extended School Year, and Dr. Lauren Viviani, who's the Deputy Chief of Specialized Services at Boston Public Schools, will be speaking first on that topic, and then introducing Alicia Scott, who's the Director of Extended School Year and Expanded Learning. And following that, we'll have a short bit and portion of the presentation devoted to transportation, and that will be led by Dan Rosengard, who's the Executive Director of Transportation for BPS. And then following his remarks, we will have Jillian Nesgos and Alba Cruz Davis, Director of Expanded Learning and the Executive Director of Expanded Learning. So again, a number of folks here to answer all of your questions and give you a really deep dive into what to expect for the summer. So really excited about that. We'll get going any second. Again, a thank you to the interpreters. The one thing I always like to say before we get started, just because I remember hearing it myself and appreciating it many years ago, is that I encourage all of you on this call, and for those at home, who may be recruiting others to join in membership, there is no such thing truly as a silly question here. So I'm asking as a favor, if you have a question, I can more than guarantee you others, within BPS with students at home are asking or wondering about the same thing. So you would be doing a great service to them to ask those questions you have, and be supportive of one another on this call, and know that we are ultimately here for you. So if there are things you think we can be doing differently, shaping differently, or reaching out to you differently, tell us that too. So without further ado, let's get going with our presentation on summer learning. I will turn it over to Dr. Lauren Viviani, who will get started with that portion, and I'm sure I won't have to remind her to speak slowly for the interpreters.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelsey. And thank you so much to the rest of the SpEdPAC board. We're so grateful to be here today, that you've invited us to your meeting, and with your collaboration to talk about ESY, extended school year for students with disabilities, and engaging with us in a conversation around summer learning. It's truly our pleasure to be with you here today. And as you know, we have been well underway with extended school year programming, or ESY, so far this year, much quicker than we have in past years. And we know that this is important to you. We heard this loud and clear in the last several years and last year, that families needed and wanted to have information about ESY and summer programming to them much quicker than they have in the past. And so we've been working really hard to make that happen under the direction and leadership of Alicia Scott, the new director of extended school year and expanded learning for our office, and we're so grateful for her hard work with that. As you may hopefully have gotten a letter already from us about a variety of things related to ESY. You're going to hear in a little while more about the dates of ESY starting July 8th through August 9th. There are about 12 sites around the city. We're going to go into that in more detail. We're going to continue to circulate communication with families of eligible students in an ongoing and dedicated way with the help of our BPS helpline and our family liaisons who are here to help you and understand what ESY is and how to get registered. Just kind of broad strokes overview. There are about I beg your pardon, about 11,000 students with disabilities or IEPs in the district that are eligible, about 4,000 of whom are eligible for ESY. And so far we've received an RSVP for just about over 1,000 of you. So we still have a lot more outreach to do. And that's why we're hoping as you come together today and hear our presentation and have friends in the district, you can help us get the word out about ESY. I just wanted to kind of let you know that in the past, there were some super sites. And because of the work that we're doing with facilities, we're going to be operating in about 12 sites this year. And so it's a little bit less than we have in the past. But what we promise to do is assign as best we can students to schools nearest your home. And in some cases, students with a high level of need, according to their IEP, may be assigned as a cohort with other classmates as close to the home still as possible, while still providing the supports and services to meet the students' needs. So with that, all of that said, we also work really closely with teaching and learning, family engagement, and other members of fifth quarter to make this a robust and program that is memorable and exciting and also serving the needs of students with IEPs. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alicia Scott, who's going to go through all of this in much more detail. And I look forward to answering your questions as we go through. Alicia?
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Kelsey. Committee members, families, welcome. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to come speak and talk about our program. So for tonight, we're going to talk about how the IEP process determines the needs for our students to go to extended school year, how families can register their students to attend, and the opportunities that we have available for the summer. So what is ESY? So the extended school year is a five day a week, 5-hour day for our students with disabilities whose IEP team identifies that they are at risk of substantial regression of their skills over the summer. Not every student with a disability will be eligible for the extended school year, as Lauren indicated before. Our extended school year program goes from July 8th to August 9th. Our Strive Transition Skills program goes from July 8th to August 9th. We have a Strive Vocational Exploration program that goes from July 8th to August 9th. And we also have a Strive Vocational Opportunities program that goes from July 8th to August 16th. We do have 4,648 students that are eligible for the extended school year. And our program will be housed at 12 sites across the city. So the extended school year is a program that's designed to provide specialized services to our students with disabilities whose IEPs have IEPs. The determination of whether a student is eligible for the extended school year is based on data of your child's progress and potential for learning loss. If a student is found eligible, the team will then collaborate to recommend specific services that align with the individual needs of your student. The primary objective of the extended school year services are to minimize learning loss, reduce the time required to regain those lost skills, and ensure that students continue to make progress toward the goals and objectives outlined in their IEPs. By tailoring services to address these specific needs, the extended school year aims to provide continuous support and opportunities for growth to students with disabilities, even during extended breaks from the traditional school year. Did I go the wrong way? Sorry about that. Oh, I went too far. I apologize. So for this year's extended school year, for the 5 hours out of the day, there will be academic instruction that is based specifically on the IEP goals. That includes reading, math, and self-regulation. We also service our early childhood students. We have evidence-based reading methods such as Wilson. We are excited that we are going to be able to bring some enrichment programs to the students, such as a First Responders Day. We have partnership with Einstein's Workshop, the Whale and Dolphin Conservation, Minis with a Mission, and Joe's Crazy Critters. Related services are also offered during the extended school year, and this goes for applied behavior analysis, adaptive physical education, mobility, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy, and vision. There also is behavior supports and intervention plans in place for our students. We do have transition programs, pre-vocation and vocational programs, and those are exciting. They actually are pretty cool. That includes cosmetology, there's auto shop, and a woodworking class. And then there is extended school year just for related services, such as speech and OT. So as Lauren mentioned, we did initiate a comprehensive outreach strategy this year, and we did start it early. We successfully did that on March 25th. And we did this to ensure that there was effective communication with our diverse community of families. Things that we did was on March 25th, emails were dispatched to our families of eligible students for ESY, and it provided essential information about enrollment and our program. We do have weekly robocalls that began on April 3rd. Those are also to further facilitate the enrollment process and offer ongoing support and guidance to our families. This week, our coordinators of special education took proactive steps to distribute enrollment forms to streamline the process for families and ensure accessibility. We will be hosting an open house at all of our ESY sites on June 27th from 5 to 7. And that gives families an opportunity to come in and engage with the teachers and staff, ask questions, see the classrooms, and gain a deeper understanding of our program. We also have a helpline that is available. They're always available to support our families. They need any guidance, any clarification or assistance with the enrollment process. And these efforts just are underscoring our commitment to fostering transparent communication and ensuring that every family feels supported and informed throughout the enrollment journey. So for enrollment, we have a great website, thanks to Yashira, who does all of our communications and family engagement. So on our website, you can go to bostonpublicschools.org/ESY, and you can register your students for ESY. When you do go to the website, you will just need to have your student's last name, their date of birth, and their identification number that's given to them through Boston Public Schools. On the site, when you do that, there's also the site locations, the hours, and other helpful information to help you with any of your needs or questions. We have great links to enroll in all of the different languages to make it easily accessible for our community of families. When we're registering your students, you're going to be able to have the option to select yes, you want your student to attend ESY and you want them to have a bus. You have the option of saying, yes, your student will attend ESY, but they don't need the bus. You have an option to just have your student attend ESY for related services. It is important to note that when you do select that option, transportation is not included. Your child's teacher or specialist will be contacting you the week before ESY to schedule those times for you to bring your student in to receive their services. And of course, you also have the option of not sending your child to ESY. Also very important to note with that, when you decide not to send your student to ESY, you're letting us know that you understand that the district is not obligated to provide compensatory services for those services that your student will miss during that time. So we do, as we said, we have 12 sites scattered across the city. We have the Blackstone, which will be a K-6 site. The hours of that school will be 9:30 to 2:30. We have the Carter, which is one of our public day programs. That will be at the Frederick, and that's grades 7 through 12. That will run from 9:30 to 2:30. We have the Edison, which is a K-6 site that will go from 9:30 to 2:30. Charlestown High School will be, of course, our high school site. That will house grades 7 through 12. That will run from 8 to 1. We have the Lee, that will be our K-6. That will also be an 8 to 1 school. We have Madison Park. That will be a 7 to 12. That will go from 8 to 1. We also have our Strive transition programs that will also be at the Madison, running from 8 to 1. We have the McKay. That is our K-6 site. That will be from 8 to 1. The Henderson will be cohorted, sharing the Frederick space with the Carter. That will be a K-12 site. That will go from 9:30 to 2:30. We will be using the Mildred. That's a K-6 from 9:30 to 2:30. The Horace Mann will be at the Horace Mann. That will be a K-12 site and will run from 8 to 1. We have the Roosevelt, that will be a K-6 from 9:30 to 2:30. The Mel King South End, which is also one of our public day programs, that will be a K-12 site running from 8 to 1. We will be using the Tobin, which is K-6 from 9:30 to 2:30. And the Tynan, which will be a K-6 running from 8 to 1. This information is also located on our website. And then should you have any questions, as I said, our website is actually very resourceful. You can go right to bostonpublicschools.org/ESY. You can email us at esy@bostonpublicschools.org. You can call us. Our number is 617-635-8873. And we do have frequently asked questions, FAQ docs, with all the different languages. And those tend to be a lot of the questions that a lot of our families have. So it's also a very resourceful tool to use. And I am going to now pass to my colleague, Dan.
Thank you so much, Alicia. That was an excellent foray into such a huge topic. We thought it would make the most sense to pause here and have Dan Rosengard take the lead on speaking about transportation services, and then we'll do that little pivot back to talking more about fifth quarter and those other summer opportunities. So Dan, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks, Alicia and Lauren. And thank you everyone for letting me be here tonight. Wanted to talk briefly about extended school year transportation for this summer. I wanted to start just, sharing our mission with transportation is always to provide safe, reliable, an on-time transportation service for students who need it. And looking at that and thinking about that, when we looked at our service in prior summers for extended school year, one of the things that we know and we've seen is that service, has been often unreliable for many of the students participating in extended school year. And we saw many, many buses that had few, many students assigned, but few students riding. And those students had very long and often inconsistent rides. And so looking at that and with our goal of providing the best possible service for the greatest number of students and really trying to focus on our most vulnerable students who rely on that bus every day, we are making a change to how we route extended school year transportation for this summer. And so this summer, we're asking that families confirm their students' attendance in ESY and confirm whether their student will use the bus during that enrollment process that Alicia went through a couple slides ago in order, for a student to be routed. And once you do that and let us know that you will be using the bus for ESY, transportation would then be provided in accordance with our normal BPS transportation eligibility, which includes any specialized transportation in your student's IEP or 504 plan. In order to guarantee that a bus assignment is in place for the first day of ESY, we're asking families to complete that enrollment by June 14th. And we've been partnering really closely with Alicia and the extended school year team, and really wanted just to shout them out and for their work to communicate early and engage families early and through many different channels so that we can make sure that we're getting those responses back so that we can really prepare to provide strong summer transportation service. So once you let us know that you need and will use the bus for the summer, you can then expect to receive your summer bus assignment by the end of June. So probably most likely during the last week of June, you would receive that summer bus assignment. Now, recognizing that students and families do require flexibility, and every student's needs is different, we are also really thinking about how can we make sure that we're prepared to be agile, to be flexible, and to be responsive to changing student needs. And so if a family does enroll after June 14th, or if you change your mind about needing transportation, we will, of course, always be prepared to provide students with bus assignments on an ongoing basis throughout the summer. So after June 14th, families can still contact the helpline to let them know that they are enrolling in ESY, they do need transportation, and we'll then route that student and provide you a transportation assignment as quickly as possible. And I would say typically that'll be with less than 1 week. We're also thinking about other guardrails such as making sure that we have our routing team on standby and that we have additional substitute drivers in place, particularly during that first week of the summer, so that we can quickly add any newly enrolled students to bus routes during that first week. And then I think just last thing I wanted to mention, it's not on the slide, but I'll certainly put the link in the chat, is that families can request alternative pickup or drop-off locations for extended school year by submitting an alternative transportation request on our support portal. And when you do that, there will be an option to note that this is for extended school year, not for the normal school year. And although those requests are not guaranteed, we'll review all of them and we do our best to accommodate, as many of them as possible. So, this new approach, this changed approach, I think is really going to allow us to shorten student ride times and provide, I think, much more, consistent service, more timely bus transportation, for our most vulnerable students, while also making sure that we're remaining flexible to meet, as I said, individual and changing student needs. So that, with that, I just wanted to again say thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Our team is really looking forward to, providing really strong bus service this summer, and I look forward to any questions you might have.
Thanks
Great.
so much, Dan. I'm so sorry, Kelsey. Could I just ask a quick follow-up, Dan? The alt drop-off and alt pickup is a change in practice from previous years, correct? For summer school?
We have received these requests in prior years as well. So I think, it's not necessarily a change from prior years, but I think we're gonna, do our best and really work to accommodate as many of those as possible.
Okay. Dan, thank you so much. That was, I think that was perfectly placed in the middle so that we've got a good framework for transportation before we move on to fifth quarter. So let's turn it over to Jillian. Let's see. Do you have slides back up there? Oh, great. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thanks for your patience, everyone. And then we turn to the portion of the presentation devoted to fifth quarter and the summer overview of that programming. And then if I didn't say so earlier, we will get to all of your questions, or as many of them as we can, at the end. So save them up, hold on to them, don't forget.
Wonderful. Well, good evening to everyone. Special thank you to Kelsey and the Special Education Parent Advisory Council for sharing time in your meeting agenda to allow us to present on the district summer programming. And as the days are inching toward above 60 degrees, we are starting to believe that summer is really coming and only a few months away. My name is Jillian Nesgos, and I'm the Director of Expanded Learning Opportunities. I'm very honored and pleased to be with you this evening and share with you and introduce you to this year's fifth quarter summer programming. And I'm here with my colleague, Alba Cruz-Davis, who I'll let introduce herself, and then we'll get moving on our presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much to the SpEdPAC Council and to all of the members. And thank you, Kelsey, Lauren, Alicia, and Dan. It has been a wonderful journey and effort to bring these wonderful opportunities to you. So we look forward to doing that. And I won't hesitate to have Jillian take it on and so that we can open it up for you to questions.
Wonderful. So we begin this evening. We wanted to talk a little bit about in our team's work as the Expanded Learning Department, we facilitate acceleration academies during February and April break, before and after school programming, and then the fifth quarter summer learning academies. And we work with many important partners to organize this work. And really top on this list are really our family partners. What is a key role for families in playing in our work in making arrangements to get your students to specialized programming in academies during out of school time programming. This takes great dedication and commitment, and you are critical to the success of this work. So we want to begin by thanking you as our family partners for all that you do. And it's a pleasure to join you tonight, such an impactful and important member of our village of educators. So thank you. We'll go to the next slide, please.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, okay.
That's okay. So our goal for this evening is to share with you an overview of the fifth quarter portfolio and provide you with information on how families can apply and participate in the fifth quarter opportunity. Next slide, please, Alba.
I swear to God, this was working and now it's not. Just one second. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Okay.
So we wanted to begin by sharing the schedule for summer 2024. District summer programming will begin following the July 4th holiday on Monday, July 8th, and will run for 5 weeks to Friday, August 9th. This includes fifth quarter summer programming and ESY, as Alicia had beautifully presented earlier. We also have the Exam School Initiative, which will begin on the same day as the fifth quarter in ESY, but will run for 4 weeks. So from Monday, July 8th to Friday, August 2nd. Next slide, please. I think, yeah, perfect, thanks. The fifth quarter has been in existence as part of the district for over 14 years. It began with only a few hundred students. And in 14 years, it expanded to almost last year where we had almost over 8,500 students participating. So analogous to the sports team term, the fifth quarter provides more playing or practice time as part of BPS initiative to provide year-round educational opportunities. And in the summer, Boston is our classroom. We work hard to create unique and high-quality enrichment opportunities that allow students to explore and invest in their city. And here's our mission. The fifth quarter mission is to provide equitable access to high-quality academic and enrichment opportunities for more high-need students across the city. We create a year-round system of learning in order to prevent summer learning loss and to secure the pathway to high school graduation and college and career readiness, and provide opportunities for teachers and staff to collaborate with community-based organizations across the city. Fine. Our fifth quarter portfolio has two types of programs: summer learning academies. Summer learning academies are sometimes run by schools, and some are run by community-based organizations. And secondly, we have high school credit recovery programs. So a typical schedule for summer learning academies is they run 5 weeks, 5 hours a day. The morning is always dedicated to academics, and the afternoon is dedicated to enrichment. High school credit recovery runs for 5 weeks for 4 hours a day. And these are specific course offerings that are very specialized to each high school. So they offer courses where students are needing to recover credits. And sometimes the high school credit recoveries offer enrichment, and sometimes they do not. Next slide, please. A little more detail on our summer curriculum and academic enrichment portion of the fifth quarter. Scholars in the fifth quarter have an opportunity to engage in project-based learning curriculum. Students engage in performance tasks that are standards aligned and assist to make summer school fun and engaging, while students make real-world connections through the lens of a career. The projects are STEM focused, but very inclusive of literacy, math, history, and science skills. And here you can see some of the project themes from last year. Next slide, please. And here we're very excited to introduce the opportunities for summer 2024. The fifth quarter will encompass 126 programs this year. There are 67 community-based organizations and 59 school-based organizations. Some of our community-based organizations as part of our portfolio include Bridge to Excellence at Northeastern University, Fresh Films, Courageous Sailing, Catholic Charities, and many YMCA programs. And many of our school-based programs also partner with community-based organizations such as Company One, Theater Program, GEM Music and Choir Program, and Allendale Farms. And we place the mission of a few of our new community-based programs on the right side of this slide. We're happy to have Art Heals and Beat the Streets as new members of our portfolio for summer 2024. Next slide, please. Our fifth quarter program serves all of our interested BPS families. In summer 2023, we had 1,101 students with disabilities participating in the fifth quarter. Fifth quarter is an elective summer learning opportunity that welcomes students of all abilities as a possible is a possible alternative to ESY programs. Next slide, please, Alba. So this provides you with a little bit of an overview of the fifth quarter and the opportunities for summer 2024. And now we want to provide you with some information about how you can apply to have your child participate in the 5th quarter. And I'll turn it over to Alba for this section.
Thank you, Jillian. And thank you once again to all of you. Alicia has done an amazing job at collaboratively working with our team. And we're happy to be able to continue to provide you with opportunities to engage in 5th quarter. And just to go over some of the newer features around our application process and the application process in general. Summer registration is open as of last evening. I think it was right before school committee presentation. And just so you know, families can visit, and I promise you that this works because I just did it. So, but I'm not going to do it now because I'm afraid I'll lose it. But if you click on the link, it'll take you to our BPS Summer Stuff website. And what we want is for you to visit there first, because one of the wonderful new features that we have, in addition to other resources, is a video. And give us a minute because it's not quite finished, but we promise we're hoping to have it up by no later than end of day tomorrow. And one of the wonderful things about the video is there'll be captions in each of the languages so that you'll be able to walk through the registration process using the video. In addition to that, as some of you may know, and those of you who are new, we also have family liaisons at each of our schools. And we'd like you to contact your family liaison at your child's school. They can, if you need help with the registration process, they can and are willing to help with the registration process. As of last summer, we started to do more pop-up events and summer registration tables at schools, in addition to citywide events, like for instance, the Bike and Kite Festival and other citywide festivals that wake up the earth, just to name a few, where we'll be volunteering and have individuals that will help with registration at these events. So in addition to the feature around the video, we'll continue to have our family liaisons help you at your school. We'll also have summer registration tables popping up at school events and community events. Finally, we'll have a centralized registration process. We are hoping to have at least 3, and those dates will be forthcoming. In terms of the process, you apply and submit your application to SchoolMint. The other new feature around SchoolMint, last year we launched a platform in which SchoolMint was available in all of our languages. This year, one of the additional features is, instead of having to go to the website, you'll be able to actually go to SchoolMint to read the details on each of the programs in various languages. So that's one of the updated features for this year that we're very happy about. And with regards to priorities, and some of you may know this, and for those of you who don't, we have priority groups, including HERN or homeless students, and ESY students, OM students or multilingual and multicultural students, as well as economically disadvantaged. Those are our priority areas. So what I mean by that is that those students will have priority in the registration process. So you'll be able to accept seats. There'll be the process involves choosing your top 3, and you'll be sent a notification with regards to your offering, and then you'll be asked to accept the seat, and then you'll need to accept the seat for your student. Similar to Alicia's presentation on ESY, you'll need your student's name, their BPS ID, and your address, etc. So once again, the SchoolMint login And I will go back to that page and click on now that I'm done. So you'll go in and visit the Schoolment site, which you can capture through the Boston Public Schools summer work page. Again, that YouTube video that I mentioned, it's going to be available, which is going to be wonderful. In addition to the family registration guides that are up there now, that will also be useful, but I think it'll just be that much easier to view the video, which will be again available in all the languages. And then you can email for family registration support at summerregistrationsupport@bostonpublicschools.org. So before I end, let me go back and click here, and voila. So we'd like you to go through this so that you can actually see and access the video. And similar to prior summers, as Jillian mentioned, we'll have the information here as well. But the video will provide you with a detailed process for how to apply for Schoolment, and Schoolment will have all the program details, which is one of our newer features. So I'm going to stop sharing so that we can take questions. And once again, I want to thank SpEdPAC. I want to thank our ESY partners, especially Lauren, Alicia, Kelsey, and Yashi. I'm sorry, I call you Yashi, and Mary Marcella, and all of you who are on the call. And Dan, who's been amazing, my colleague Jillian, and we're looking forward to an amazing summer 2024.
Thank you, Alba, so much. Thank you for giving that overview of fifth quarter, and Alicia, of course, as well, for introducing us to the new features and some you're more familiar with ESY. I just want to take one quick second to sort of do a reframe, given all that we've heard, and then I thought I'd turn it back to Lauren for a couple of minutes. I know she has a couple additional things to add, but I would say, taking all that in myself, I think a couple of my takeaways as a mother, and I'm only guessing maybe other people are thinking these things as well, is that these are really personalized decisions. There are a lot of offerings, right? A lot of opportunities. All of them are different. And just like you would do in your IEP meeting, right, or anything else that is a service offering from BPS, is really only as important and relevant as it is to your child. So I really encourage everyone on this, and obviously I'm no expert. I'm sorting all the stuff out just the way everyone else is, to when you're making decisions about summer or, again, your IEP. But just keep in mind, with this right on the horizon, it is a separate thing than working on what's happening during the school year. So I would just recommend, just more as a mother to other mothers and fathers and caregivers on this call, take some real time about thinking about what your student would be best suited to be geared toward in the summer. Take some time to decide, is service delivery the most important feature for their summer opportunity? Is it something else you're looking for instead of that? And really take some time and utilize the resources, many of whom you've met here tonight. BPS has made a really, really firm commitment to tailor and individualize not only a solution for each student by way of a plan, but a discussion around what is the best fit for your child. So really lean into that and ask them to serve you in that way, and they will. So with that in mind, a quick couple of thoughts from Dr. Viviani, who had a couple extra things to share, and then we'll get right to your questions. Lauren, did you have a couple things to add?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks so much, Kelsey. And thank you, Alicia, Jillian, and Alba, for your very in-depth presentations. I'm grateful again for everybody to be on tonight. And I would just share that fifth quarter and ESY are parallel summer programs, as Kelsey was mentioning, that are intended to do two different things. And so as you're making these decisions, I think Kelsey said it really well about thinking about what is most important for your individual child, for your family, and the district through the IEP process. We'll certainly want to make sure that we support you in that decision and implement the IEP. I think that that's kind of the main message here. I know I see one question that kind of gets asked a lot about data and regression in the classroom, and those are super individualized depending on the needs of each child and the IEP team. So if you have specific questions about your child's own regression or needs like that, please connect with your school leader, the school coach, and ask those questions about that for your individual student. Okay. Thank you again, Kelsey, for giving us this opportunity, and all of the SpEdPAC members. And we're here to answer any additional questions, whether in the chat or however.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I will applaud all of us. We can all take some credit for landing in timeliness, which is really important because, again, this time belongs to you, our membership, your questions, the answers you deserve. If we don't have enough time to get to all of them here, you have my commitment. I will chase down the answers until we find them. So let's just start. And if there are a couple live questions first, we'll go in order and then take some from the chat as well. Let's see. I see Elaine Maldonado. You want to go ahead and unmute?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for that. Let me lower my hand. I just had a quick question. For the fifth quarter, I'm on it right now, and I don't see my child's school. So he goes to the West Zone Early Learning Center. And last year I had trouble as well signing him up. I don't know what it is, but I wonder if I see the East Boston Learning Center, but not my child's school on there.
Yeah, so this year, the West Zone is going to be at the Curly. Did that make sense? So there are 4 summer early focus sites, and one is the Baby Higginson, one is the Ellison, one is the East Boston EEC, and then West Zone is going to be at the Curly. So hopefully that's helpful. And
so I basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sign him in, I guess, because yeah, so I'm trying to sign him up for the school mint. I don't usually go through school mint for him. So it's just not, it's like I can put the information for him, but just when it says, so I'm not trying to pick like the site right now. I'm just basically,
see.
Sorry.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pick the site right now. I'm just trying to go through school mint and
you're trying, yeah.
add my child, if that makes sense. Add him, like add the card. Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant. I'm trying to add him.
Go to the Curly, you're signing him up and you can't pick his school.
Exactly. Yep. I'm trying to add him as like, I'm the parent, and then it's like a add your child type thing, and I just couldn't pick his school.
Okay, so the West Zone Summer Early Focus is not there as a place that you can register your son from.
Exactly. So, yep.
We'll fix that.
Okay. Yeah, it could be a location piece, which I'm going to go look onto Schoolmint right now, and we'll fix it and we'll let you know that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I should have led with that, but thank you.
You brought it up. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. This is a perfect example. Thank you for bringing that up, because that's something other parents will undoubtedly encounter. Will you make sure that you get also that parent's information to follow up to be sure? Okay.
I'm writing down right now. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
And if you have any problems, Elaine, and we don't fix it, just please email us at the email.
No, don't worry. We will be sure. We will be sure we fix it.
Okay.
We will be sure we fix it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I see Adriana. Adriana, you want to go ahead and unmute?
Hi, yes, it's Adriana. I am just trying to figure out what's going to be best for my child, and I just really didn't understand for the ESY when it says if you just choose related services, how that programming could be different or a shorter day. They wouldn't be eligible for transportation, which isn't a problem, but I just don't think I understand what related services means. And that kind of would also affect my decision of whether I'm going to send her to that ESY or if fifth quarter would be better for her.
A good
Thank you
question.
so much. That's a really great question. Some kids just are eligible for related services in their ESY. So they come in just, for instance, for speech therapy 3 times a week for half an hour, whatever it is. And
Okay.
so it really depends on what the IEP says. But that's what that means is some kids come for a whole 5-hour day for ESY and some kids just come for their related services, OT, speech, whatever.
Okay, so how do I figure out how that's applicable to my child so that I can understand if that's an option for her?
Yeah, really good question. I think it's really based on what the IEP says. So I would really recommend that you connect with your COAS at your school or the school leader. And we can definitely follow up with you if you want to reach out specifically. I don't want to.
If you
we
want
can-
to share your school, we could connect you with your assistant director as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect, Mary. Thanks.
yeah, so we're at the Winship, and I don't know who that person would be, so I appreciate that.
I'll direct message you right now, okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
Alrighty. All right, let's take one more question here and then we'll move over to the chat. Jewel, do you have a question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay. I had signed my son up for camp before, I even heard about the ESY program. So he'll be going to camp for 2 weeks. But I would definitely like to get him into this program. Would that be possible? He'd be going the first, I'm sorry, I think it's the first 2 weeks of July.
I'm trying to think who would be the best person to tackle that question. I'm sure it's very.
Sorry, so the question is, would you still be able to go to ESY or one of the summer fifth quarter programs?
I think
You know what? I'm not really.
Are you confused about whether the dates it would work for you to enroll your
So-
child in camp and then be part of one of those programs? Is that what I'm?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Because I
yeah.
don't even know what's I know extended, services year, but also related services. So I'm just confused. But I'm gonna go on the website and look that up. But I was just wondering about more of the time frame with the 2 weeks where he'll be at overnight camp. Will
Yep.
I still be eligible to get him into any of these programs?
If your child is eligible for ESY in their IEP and they have something planned for a week or two of ESY, they're still eligible and entitled to the days that they're available to attend.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. And I just want to let everybody know this was such a great presentation. All you guys did awesome.
Yeah, and similarly, Jewel, if your child can, if you're looking at a fifth quarter program and they want to come in later and there's space available, that can also be a possibility.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because I really do want to get my son into something for the summer so he doesn't regress too much. So great. Thank you so much.
Jewel, thank you so much for the question. And just don't forget, if you have to incorporate transportation there, remember to stay on that and get that arranged so you don't miss out. But you've heard Dan's commitment too, that, everything would be done that's humanly possible to get you rerouted, if you made that decision a little later and changed plans. And, so I'm so glad that the summer's looking up already.
Yes.
If I-
Thank you guys.
But if I may, just real quick, just in case this situation applies to other families out there, if you're only planning to attend for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we would still ask that you enroll before June 14th, and we'll route your transportation to make sure it's in place. And then you can always contact our team and let our customer service team know you know, the specific dates when you won't need the bus, and we can let the driver know which days that, you know, he or she doesn't need to go to your stop.
Great. I mean, great to clarify that. I think that's important. Andrea, did you say you had a question from the chat?
Yep, a question came up in the chat. Hope threw it out there, but a couple families had also emailed this afternoon asking this question. For the fifth quarter, the slide that showed the timeline, it's great that registration's opened. Families are wondering, when will they be notified of what their fifth quarter assignment is? And then subsequently, what is the date they need to accept?
So applications come in on a rolling basis. So once the application is put in and you prioritize your choices of programming for 1, 2, and 3, once the program director accepts the application, you will be immediately notified, and as the parent, you'll need to accept your placement in the program. And so it is on a rolling basis. As soon as you apply, that will go directly to the program coordinators for the programs to which you applied, and they will accept it on a rolling basis. So sometimes it could be, you know, as soon as next week, and depending on when the program director accepts the application, but it should be soon after you apply.
Okay, so each program will have kind of a different timeline for when they'll be accepting that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, well, in addition to that, please remember there are the priorities. So the ESY, homeless, economically disadvantaged, and multicultural, multilingual students. The selection, again, it depends on the program, yes, and you should have, like, I think we're giving like people, I don't know, like a 1 week window to reply, but please know, because it's just opening up. I would say that once we meet with the site coordinators, we'll ask, you know, can we, you know, have like a 2-week window maximum.
Okay. I'll just throw out your follow-up question. So will families know if they weren't selected?
Well,
So-
they'll know because they won't get a selection. They'll get, hopefully, and again, this is based on last year, 80% of our families, and Jillian, help me out, it might be higher actually, were able to get into their top 3 choices. So yeah.
Yes, what happens is when the program accepts your application, you will receive an immediate notification, and once you accept that offer, the other 2, if you've applied to multiple programs, it will be declined to the other 2 programs, so that you'll just be accepting, you'll be accepted into 1 program. Yeah.
Okay, so like last year, I think a feedback we heard from families was that they just weren't really sure and had a difficult time planning, because some families found out in May, some families found out in June, some families found out July. So I guess what would be the best outreach for a family who would they contact if they want to find out where they are in the process and where their schools are in the process that they've ranked?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we are working on more consistent from the program coordinators to the families, more consistent communication, not just through the platform, the SchoolMate platform where you send your application, but also to have very specific dates where all families are receiving communication at 2 or 3 junctures throughout the summer. So that will be through a separate email exchange. So we are trying to improve our communication process for this year. But yes, it is a rolling basis, but we are going to be working with our site coordinators to make sure that they are constantly working on the platform to accept the applications from families.
Okay, so is there like a central email for?
I will put the email in the chat.
That would be great. Thank you, Alba.
of course, yes.
Any other questions? Show me hands and we'll get to those before we continue to tackle the chat.
Kelsey, I think it's good to mention what we talked about during our check-in today, and that if families are waiting for fifth quarter, if you would like to attend ESY, you're still waiting to hear back from fifth quarter while you're making that change, we encourage you to sign up for ESY up until June 14th. If you change your mind, or if you'd like to attend fifth quarter, feel free to opt out of ESY so that we factor that into transportation.
And Joshi, on that same accord, some families were asking how they opt out if they've said yes initially. And it's in the chat, but just for everyone to know that Fravo takes your last response. So if you change your mind and say, yes, I want full ESY, and then you choose instead to go to a summer program, you can still change your RSVP on Fravo.
I just want to pause everyone here for a second, because I want to be sure for our families that we're like identifying what Fravo is, that we're talking about, what. So Mary, could you help just to sort of tease out a couple of those things? And then I see Rosalind has a question that I want to get to, but I just want to be sure people, understand exactly the pieces you're referring to, because I know it's important.
Yeah, I also see a lot of people asking for the PowerPoint, and will it be available? And yes, it will.
Yes, I will PDF the PowerPoint and share it with.
We will, but I want to be respectful of,
Yep.
Mary, tell us about those.
Sure. So one of the easiest ways to RSVP for extended school year is on the ESY website. There were also QR codes and a few other ways to reach it. But essentially, if you go to bostonpublicschools.org/ESY and you scroll down after the first paragraph, you'll see that you can RSVP, and it's available in all our major languages. All you need to do is click the language that you need. When you click it, it's going to ask you for your child's ID number, their name, and their date of birth. And then it will pre-populate information that it will let you know your child is assigned to the McKay. This is the address of the school. These are the hours. And it gives you options to RSVP and how. I want, full ESY with transportation. I want full ESY, no transportation. I want related services only, no transportation. I do not want ESY. It is important that the system, I feel like, has gotten better, but in past years, if you're seeing your child's information is not popping up, it's very sensitive to last names. And I believe it's still, if you have multiple last names, both last names together with no space in the middle, but that can get a little tricky. If you keep trying and you're unable to do it, you can also RSVP through your school-related coordinator of special education, or you can email esy@bostonpublicschools.org if you're having trouble. But Fravo, you could keep RSVPing and changing your answer, and it'll take whatever the last entered one was.
Got it. Okay, that's super helpful. Thank you for that. Rosalind, I see your hand up. Go ahead with your question.
My name is Rosalind. I have a quick question. My son was in an ABA class, and this past March, he transitioned from ABA to an integrated classroom. And during the IEP meeting, they said he does qualify for ESY, but his program, he's not going to be getting door-to-door transportation, and the program he's going to be in for ESY will be in Dedham. I'm not sure whether is the quarter 5 or is the same ESY. I'm not sure what program. I haven't heard from the school yet, but I'm not sure what program he's going to be in when the summer starts.
Did you say, just so we heard you correctly for the question, did you say enrolled in a program in Dedham?
According to the IEP meeting, that's what they were talking about. But they said they will let me know more. And because he started the school at age 3, and he's been doing this ESY at his school because he was in an ABA classroom. But now that he's been transitioned from the ABA classroom to an integrated classroom, they said he can be in an integrated in an ABA classroom for the summer. He have to be in a class similar to what he's in right now for the summer.
Interesting.
So
And then they said he won't get door-to-door transportation. And according to what they were saying, last year the kids were asked to meet at a certain location, and a bus picked them up from there to go to Dedham. And I'm wondering, why would he be going to Dedham for, for summer program?
It's a good question. Is there somebody that can follow up directly on this one?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Rosalind, if you could either one, let us know what school your child goes to right now, and we can
He's in he attend Matahan Elementary.
at the Matahan.
Yes.
Okay, so we will we'll see who the I can't think off the top of my head.
Lauren Shannon.
Is it Lauren Shannon? Okay. We'll drop her email in the chat if you could email her directly, just because it sounds very complex what's happening, and we want to make sure we get all the details right for you.
Can someone also here from BPS if you're comfortable with it, Rosalind, just be sure that we have your contact information here so that we can follow up with you, either put it in the chat, and then we'll make sure that, yes, just as Lauren said, that you reach out to the right person, but we'll also follow up with you.
Okay.
If you're comfortable putting that in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Any other, otherwise I'll turn back to the chat, but any other live questions? Oh, here's one that we'll take. Yeah, Andrea, it sounds like you've got another from the chat.
This came up a couple times in the chat. Alba or Jillian, can you go over a little bit about the different buckets that are given priority in fifth quarter registration? And then can you also specify whether or not disability status is given priority?
Yes. So the buckets are, again, homeless students, economically disadvantaged, OMS or multilingual, multicultural students, as well as ESY. And those are the 4 priority areas that when you register are flagged as a priority. So let's say you register at the same time a student that doesn't have a priority, you'll automatically be bumped up to top priority.
And I think, Alba, I just want to make sure we're really clear. When you say ESY students, you mean students with disabilities or IEPs?
Yes.
Or 504s?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes. And then
it's not just kids who have ESY, it's kids with an IEP and a 504.
IEP or 504. And then depending on what program you're choosing to apply for, as was mentioned, you would opt out of the compensatory services because those aren't part of fifth quarter. So that's one of the things that you'd have to consider.
Okay.
And I see some questions in the chat. Jillian has answered them, but please know that, for example, there's a parent that says that she's oftentimes registering her child for a program that she doesn't intend to register them for. She can follow up with her family liaison, as Jillian has mentioned in the chat. And then we answered the question around the priorities. And please do, if you're interested in fifth quarter, email us at the email that we provided for summer learning registration for fifth quarter. And I think that's what I see so far.
I just want to, again, I just want to jump in because I think that I want to make sure we're all really clear. So fifth quarter does not provide specially designed instruction, and this has nothing at all to do with compensatory services. So I just want to be really clear that ESY is, per the IEP, has to be eligible, and fifth quarter, and compensatory services is totally unrelated.
Yes. I mean, yes, thank you for clarifying.
Okay, I want to take this back to some of these questions. Lauren, thank you for clarifying that. And, you know, and, you know, just a reminder for how we talk about all of our students in the district, you know, how we sort them, talk about them, whether they belong in certain frameworks or buckets or this or that. I just, you know, it's, to be honest, it's hard for me to hear that sometimes and not just remind all of us that, you know, these are our most fragile and vulnerable students. They are not to be sorted. They are everybody's child. They are the students of all of you, the loved ones of everyone on this call. And I just want to remind everyone, it's really easy to, you know, be putting forth, you know, websites and new ways for everyone to swim around finding what people need. But just remember who we're talking about here. I mean, these are every student, by virtue of a caregiver being on this call, has a vulnerable student whose every need relies on the care of everyone on this call and their parents. So I just have to sort of say that. But that's with a huge amount of gratitude that we're all here doing exactly that. So I thank you all for the work so much. Sometimes, you know, just like everyone else, you hear a couple calls and think, oh God, you know, you have to just kind of remember it. Michelle Curran, your hand is up. Go ahead and ask your question. Can you hear us?
Yes, sorry.
No, that's okay. We can hear you.
I was just actually confused on because one child I was able to find, you know, like filling out the application because I'm doing it now. And the weird problem is that I'm able to do it for my son, but for my daughter, she didn't pop up in the system, and I don't understand that. And she's been in, you know, going to school longer than him.
Oh, so that sounds perplexing.
Yes.
So it sounds like sounds like if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're trying to do is sort of register, find the right place for both of them, right? And you sort of see one come up, but not the other. Is that right?
Yes. Is there a reason? Is it because he is going to Harvard Kent and she's going to Brook? Because I was told that Brook was with Boston Public as well, even that it's a type of charter school.
Yeah, that is therein lies the issue, Michelle. So Brooke isn't in our schoolment because it's a charter. However, does your child have a BPS ID?
Yes.
Okay. So so
They
you
both
should
IEPs.
yeah, so you should be able to register and you should be able to navigate schoolment with your child's BPS ID.
Well, I think the trouble is that whether she should be able to or not, the struggle sounds very real. Michelle,
Yeah, exactly. So we need to figure out what's going on. Yes.
yeah. So Michelle, can we connect you on this call? Are you comfortable giving, you know, can we get you connected, you know, more personally with someone so that afterwards we can figure out exactly what the glitch is and someone can sort of walk you through it piece by piece? Would that be all right with you?
Yes, because I'm trying to get them both, you know, like the summer program or whatever, but I don't know, this is the first time that I'm signing them up for any of this stuff because last year, I couldn't find anything and I had a hard time even getting her something. So she just, you know, had a hard time, you know, going through the summer and everything because it just so much. Plus the child, like, you know, children, they want to do stuff, they want to go out, they want to, you know, have fun, they have all this energy and everything, and she's 7, so I was trying to find her something, and my son's 3.
Yeah, no,
So
you've definitely got your work cut out for you, for sure. So I think what we should do is, Lauren, Mary, I'm looking at, just looking at the faces on the screen that I know. Will someone connect directly with Michelle, Jillian, and sort of, hold her hand through this one, look at what she's looking at to see what I'm sure we can sort it out, Michelle, and it sounds really stressful. So yeah, we've got to get them lined up with something they're eligible for, and you can go back to being their mom, not their summer camp coordinator.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I love doing stuff with them. It's just, thinking about things every single day, and
Yeah.
kids at this age, they just want to go, go, go.
Yeah. Our goal is to make sure that they can go, go, go and have a wonderful summer. So we'll make sure that you are assisted.
We'll take care of it, Michelle. You got my word on that. We'll make sure that Mary, Lauren, somebody is going to take your information or write it. Do you guys have what you need?
Yes, I'm writing it down right now, and we'll walk you through the application process. So happy to do that.
All right, that sounds great. I think we have I'm glad we were able to take care of that. I see one other question. I think we have time for one more from a member. Anai Palkadu. Hope I said that sort of correctly. Anaya, maybe it's Anaya. Can you hear us?
I'm very sorry. Yes. Good evening.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Sure, perfectly.
Yes. So I have a daughter who's 4.5. She goes to Gardner Pilot Academy. And last year we were very, very lucky because we were able to enroll her in the early summer program at Orchard Gardens. And Orchard Gardens at the same time had ESY program running out of that location. So it was fantastic because we were able to get her services, her speech and OT there, and they were able to come into the classroom and pull her out while she was attending the early summer focus program. That worked really well. This year, that's not an option. There's no overlap between ESY and the early summer program. I think there's only 4 locations: Higginson, Ellison, Curly, and East Boston. Although last time I heard, Curly was not even an option, or not something that there was an issue there and that hasn't been resolved yet. That's my understanding, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to figure out is if we elect to have her ESY, and I understand ESY, if it's only the related services, it's only for speech and OT. It does not include ABA. So if it's speech and OT, I would like for her to take advantage of both programs. So is it possible to bring my daughter for OT and speech to ESY location? But it would be ideal if that was done on the same day, back to back. So this way we're not interrupting her at the program.
I understand. Okay, well, in the interest of time, I'm only cutting you off because I want to be sure we have to hear the answer. But I think that's a great question. Can anyone take that one?
I don't mean to keep talking, but I'm happy to answer.
Great.
So a couple things. We do have some sites that are overlapping, not all of them, unfortunately. I don't believe there's an early childhood site just because the early childhood sites also tend to be very large, as do the ESY sites. So it's hard for us to commingle all the time. But for our programming, we do have sites at the Blackstone, Charlestown, Edison, Frederick, Lee, Madison, McKay, and Mildred that will have some type of other programming as well as extended school year. So in those buildings, it'll be much easier to facilitate receiving speech or OT or reading services and things like that. However, if your child is at a site, a 5th quarter site that does not have those services, we would do everything we can to accommodate coming either at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day and clustering the services for that child. We had several kids last year at the Adams that came for rules-based only, and we tried to have them come right at the beginning of their day so that they could still get to their programs either on time or slightly late and only miss a certain amount of time. the best thing for scheduling something like that would actually be talking directly to your site coordinator. Alicia, I don't know if the site coordinator's info is up yet, but it will be on the ESY website, their emails and their contact info. That would be the best person. They'll already have a running list. They're already working super hard to get things ready, and they'll prioritize that when they get their related service providers to say, oh, Sammy needs speech and OT. He's attending another program. Can we do that on Friday morning so that he doesn't miss a whole day somewhere else?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
Sure.
clarification.
Thank you for that. We squeezed it in just under the wire.
And one last thing, Kelsey, I'm sorry. I know there just have been a couple of questions about charter schools, and charter schools are their own LEA and outside of kind of what BPS does. So if you have specific questions about your charter school, you should connect definitely with the school leader.
Okay, that sounds like good advice. And to anyone who thinks of
Sorry, one quick thing, Kelsey, I misspoke one thing. Technically, even though none of the early childhood programs are in a direct building with ESY programs, the East Boston EEC is technically attached to the McKay, which is an ESY site. So if you count that, they are in the same building. Sorry.
Yeah. Got it. No, that makes sense. No, that's good to clarify. Well, I do feel confident we got to as many questions as I think we could in a reasonable amount of time. Again, I would just reiterate, I want to be very respectful of people's time. We're going to end right away. A huge, huge, huge thank you to everyone at BPS who presented tonight on their topic and answered all of your questions. And I would just remind everyone, first and foremost, though, our families, you all are everything again to this forum. It's such a brilliant reminder. I hope I speak for our our comrades at BPS when I say hearing and remembering and reminding ourselves what your questions are, what keeps you up at night, what keeps you worrying or hopefully less worried as the days go on is really, really, important to reflect on. And I'm just making one more plea, one more beg with that in mind to use this next month to think about how and if you might like to run for an elected position here on SpEdPAC or become more involved and engaged. And as I said, by the 30th of this month, we'll post on the website some opportunities to even come and speak more about those opportunities and what they look like over Zoom. But even in addition to that, email us anytime, call anytime, run into us on the street. We're so glad you're here, and please keep being there for each other. All right, well, let's say goodnight for tonight, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.